Agriculture systems on swales. At the start of the wet season, plant legumes along the swale mounds or along the plowed contour lines. Plant the legumes close together, about 3 to 5 centimeters apart. Leucaena and moringa are both good legumes to use. These legumes have many functions. They will hold the soil together and eventually form a fence which can be continuously pruned for many years. The pruning can be used as mulch and fertilizer, and as the legumes are pruned, they will release nitrogen into the soil. They will act as a windbreak, which will help to protect crops when they are still young. They will eventually form natural terraces on the land. In between the legume rows, there is wide rows or alleys, which can be used for planting many different types of crops or even for grazing animals. Not all of the land must be used straight away. It is better to utilize the land gradually as needed. Managing planting times. Managing planting times is a technique which can increase crop yields by working with crops of different sizes, growth rates, and lifespans. Following is an example of managing crop planting times. Year 1. Plant legume trees, like leucaena and moringa. Leave space for fruit trees. The legume trees will grow quickly and can later be cut back to provide more space for other trees. Year 1 and 2. Plant fruit trees, like apples, mango, and citrus, between the legume trees. When planting, think about how large the tree will be in 10 to 20 years and leave enough room for trees to grow to their full size. The legume trees will provide some shade for the fruit trees when they are still young. When the fruit trees grow larger, the legumes can be cut back to provide more space. Eventually, the fruit trees will take over the legume trees. Animals can also be integrated into this system. Year 1 to 5. There will be space between the fruit trees for about 5 years. The space can be used to grow vegetables like corn, pumpkin, beans, sweet potato, capsicum, taro, cassava, papaya, banana, pineapple, and root plants like ginger. To allow sunlight in, prune back legumes which grow too thick. The prunings can be used as mulch material. Year 5 to 10. There may be some space still available for growing vegetables and small trees. However, these smaller crops will need to be removed once the larger fruit trees have grown. Continue cutting back the legume trees, and if more space is still needed, the legumes can be removed. The more variety of crops, trees, and animals there are, the more variety of foods and products there will be, and this will assure a more stable income. For soil with many rocks, dry areas, or large amounts of land, plant more trees than vegetable crops. Trees require less maintenance and will still produce crops in harsh conditions. Integrating swale systems with tree crops, vegetable crops, animals, and fish ponds. Planting in swale alleys. Some examples of crop combinations for swale alleys are small fruit trees grown together, like citrus, mango, cacao, guava, apple, papaya, sesbania, coffee, and taro. Spices like ginger, chilies, cloves, and turmeric, and vegetable crops like sweet potato, spinach, and cassava can be planted all together between the fruit trees in the swell alleys. Large trees grown together, like mango, avocado, jackfruit, coconut, and bamboo. When these trees are established, in about 4 to 5 years, animals can be grazed between them in the swell alleys. Timber trees, oil trees, bamboo, fiber trees, medicinal plants, firewood trees, and other crops can also be grown together. Eventually, animals can be grazed in the alleys. Short-term crops like spices, sweet potato, pumpkin, papaya, and even banana can be grown when the larger trees are still young. Smaller swales can be made in the alleys to increase production and crop variety. Use any crop combinations you like. Smart ideas. Planting many crops together and rotating crops will help to keep the soil healthy. Flatland tree crops. Flatland is generally used for grains, vegetables, and paddies, but tree crops can be combined in many ways. Tree crops will increase production and crop variety. Tree crops need less maintenance and will still produce in the dry season. Small trees like citrus, banana, papaya, clove, and pigeon peas can be planted with grains and vegetables. The trees will provide shade for smaller annual crops. They will also act as a barrier and make it harder for pest insects to pass from one plant to the next. Also plant legumes. They will provide many benefits. Another benefit from planting trees with crops and vegetables is that the smaller crops can be harvested first, while waiting for the large trees to grow and produce. 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Smart ideas. Flatland agriculture will be improved if water is collected and stored in the ground. This includes rainwater and water that flows down from the mountains. Continue using trenches and compost pits to collect water. Reforestation. Reforestation areas are areas where the natural forest is restored. Reforestation is a less intensive system and will provide less produce than agriculture. However, this system is very important for preserving the environment and stopping erosion, and it will provide many essential products such as bamboo, oils, fiber, timber, honey, and medicines. Dryland strategies. In dry areas, water storage is very important. For dry, rocky areas, rock swales can be used. There are also other techniques which can be used, like boomerang swales and net and pan systems. Boomerang swales. Boomerang swales are named after and share the same shape as the boomerang, a traditional hunting weapon of the Australian Aboriginal people. Boomerang swales should be a minimum of 2 meters long, but will work better if they are between 5 to 10 meters long. They are usually about adult knee height, but higher is better. The swales are made of rock mounds. A combination of dug swales and mounds can also be used, as long as it will still hold water. Put smaller rocks on the front side, top, and larger rocks on the back side, bottom, just like when making rock swales. This will help to collect more water, soil, leaves, and plant materials. Trees will help to hold and improve the soil. Start by planting trees in the middle of the swales and move outwards as the trees become established. Some good trees to start with include legumes and using the seed ball technique, which will be explained following. If many boomerang swales are made together, excess water from one swale will be collected in the next swale. If the system is managed well, This will increase production for all the swales. Net and pan swales. These swales are similar to boomerang swales, except that they have on side shaped as a V. This system is called net and pan because a net is shaped to catch water and a pan is shaped to hold water. This system works best on gently sloped land. Each side of the V shape is about 3 meters long and about adult knee height. The swales can be made of rocks or mounds of dug soil, or a combination of both. If many swales are made in an organized way, they will make a system where the overflow water from one, net and pan, will flow into the next, net and pan, and so on. Use small trenches to help direct the water. There are many benefits of this system, but primarily it will help to reduce and prevent erosion. Microclimates. A microclimate is the climate of a particular area. This area could be as small as a garden plot or as large as a mountainside. Each type of plant prefers different microclimates. However, almost all plants like microclimates with available water, good soil, enough sunlight, protection from strong winds, shade for when plants are still young. Using night condensation. Providing a good microclimate is important for all plants, especially when they are still young. Microclimates can be changed and improved using good techniques, including all the techniques which have already been explained. For example, rock swales. Rocks will provide homes for small animals and insects, and at night, when the temperature is colder, the rocks will also become cold, and moisture will collect on the rock's surfaces. This moisture will soak into the soil and be used by plants. This moisture is an important water source in dry areas. Starting reforestation. Areas which are best for starting reforestation are areas which naturally have good microclimates. If you plant trees in these areas, the success rates of tree growth will be higher. Observe your land to know which areas naturally have good microclimates. Look for existing groups of trees. Trees will grow in a particular spot because the microclimate is better. Existing trees will provide mulch, shade, and protection for newly planted trees. Grasses and small plants. In very dry areas, grasses and small plants indicate where the soil is better and where there is possibly more water available. Trees will grow better in these areas compared with other crops. Because trees are more resistant, areas with no grass indicate where the soil is very poor, with many rocks and not enough water. Groups of rocks. Trees planted below rocks will receive more water because the rocks will catch and direct rainwater. Areas where water naturally collects. The northern side of a mountain. This is the best side of a mountain for reforestation because it receives the right amount of sunlight for trees to grow, and hence will have a better microclimate. But also observe which side is the most cleared or destroyed, and which side more urgently needs reforestation. Assisting natural reforestation. Nature is always working towards a healthier environment. Don't work against nature. Working with natural patterns will speed up the process. Some steps which work with nature towards shaping a healthier environment include: stop burning. By burning, you are destroying many valuable resources. For example, burning grasses will also burn their functions, one of which is to protect newly planted trees. Conserve bird habitats. Birds are very useful in reforestation. Birds help to spread seeds through their manure. The manure will add nutrients to the soil, and some of the seeds will grow into new trees. First, plant trees in small groups. Then, in following years, add new trees to the existing groups. The new trees will receive protection and mulch from the older trees. Seed balls. A seed ball is a small ball of clay, about 4 centimeters in diameter, containing plant seeds and dried manure. Seed balls are a good, simple technique to start reforestation in dry areas, steeply sloped areas, or areas with few or no plants or trees. Place the seed balls in any area you want before the wet season starts. The clay will protect the seeds inside from animals until the rains come. When the wet season starts, the seeds will begin to grow, and the dry manure will provide some nutrients to help them grow. It is best to use seeds of fast-growing legumes like acacia, leucaena, and moringa. The trees that grow from the seed balls will improve the soil and provide protection and mulch for new trees planted afterwards. Making seed balls. Choose clay that sticks together, doesn't break when rolled into a snake shape. Add some water to the clay so that it becomes easy to shape into a ball. Mix in a small amount of manure, but make sure that the clay will still stick together. First, make the balls, then add about 5 to 10 seeds in each ball. The seeds must be inside the ball so that animals won't be able to eat them once they are in nature. Straight away, dry the balls in the sun for 1 to 2 hours. Leave until dry, but not cracked. Put them in a dry and shady place to continue drying. The balls must be completely dried because, if they are still wet, the seeds will grow. When dry, store the balls in a dry place until you are ready to use them. Smart ideas. Making small catchments of rocks for the seed balls will improve growth success rates because soil and water will collect there for the young trees. Seed balls will help a lot if there is large areas of land you want to reforest, but have difficulty planting the whole land in one season. At the start of the wet season, plant crops on the most productive part of the land, while seed balls can be used for other parts of the land. Protecting reforestation areas. The reforestation area must be protected from fire, animals, strong winds, and erosion. This protection will need community participation to work well. Neighbors and surrounding communities should be involved and should understand any reforestation projects which affect them. Community group meetings can be held to discuss and plan together issues relating to protection of reforestation areas. Some community plans to develop together could be using traditional community laws to increase the awareness of the whole community about the importance of reforestation and protection for the reforestation area. Include schools, local groups, religious groups, and government workers in the process of providing education for communities about the importance of reforestation and protection of reforestation areas. Develop a sense of ownership in every community group member for shared community resources. These community resources include nurseries, cropland, and community forests. This awareness is very important for increasing a community's ability to work together. Develop short-term and long-term plans for protection of reforestation areas. Short-term plans can be made for areas which need immediate attention or are more urgent. Every area and plan for community land management and protection of reforestation land should be discussed with the government. Working together with the government will improve results and increase community involvement. Smart ideas. Plan each activity well. In reforestation, it is better to work step by step and make every small step a success, rather than trying to reforest a very large area of land but not being able to manage it well. Protection from fire. Fire usually comes from the direction where the wind comes from in the dry season or from areas lower down the mountain. Make fire protection on your land in these areas. Fire protection could be living fences made from plants or trees which are fire resistant, such as cactus, aloe vera, or banana. Rock walls. Besides functioning as fire protection, these walls will also act as a wall to stop animals from entering. Fire breaks. Fire breaks is a bare strip of land which is kept clear of plants. When a fire reaches this area, it will go out because there is nothing to burn. These techniques will work better if they are combined. Protection from animals. Animals like goats, buffalo, cows, and pigs can damage large numbers of trees very quickly. To avoid this, make small fences or tree guards surrounding each tree. Fences can be made from any inexpensive and available materials, such as wood, bamboo, rock, wire, net, or a combination of materials. Living fences made of plants which animals don't like, such as cactus, will also provide protection from animals. Tree guards are good to use for fruit trees, house trees, and large trees which are still young. Once trees grow tall enough and their leaves are above animal reach, the tree guards can be removed and animals can be left free in this area. Protection from strong winds. If plants are protected from strong winds, they will grow faster and healthier, especially when they are still young. Protection from strong winds could be living fences, vine trellises, or trees planted to form a windbreak. From croplands, plant a few lines of trees specifically to function as a windbreak. These trees can be of many different types, from legumes to fruit trees. Plant the line of trees in the direction where strong winds most often come from. For reforestation land, first plant groups of trees in areas which are already protected from strong winds. In years following, add new trees to the existing group. The new trees will be protected by the established trees. Protection from erosion. Planting trees is the best long-term solution to prevent erosion. But when the trees are still young, they will also need protection from erosion. This protection can include many techniques which have already been explained, such as using swales or terraces. Grasses, bush, and ground cover crops will also help to prevent erosion. Planting trees. The techniques used to plant a tree are very important for the tree growth later on. Some techniques to use are as simple as planting in the afternoon. Don't plant trees during the heat of the day. Supplying enough water. Take care of the roots as much as possible. Don't disturb them. Make a small trench surrounding newly planted trees for catching water. A watering pipe can also be added and will work even better. Put mulch around trees. Planting fruit trees. If you have enough water, fruit trees can be planted at any time of the year. If water is limited, it is best to plant when the soil is wet or at the start of the wet season. Techniques for planting fruit trees. 1. Dig a hole knee-deep or more if possible. Fill the hole with water. Also water the tree when still in its container. Number 2. Put a pipe, which can be made from bamboo, inside the hole. Place some gravel below the pipe to help with water flow later on. 3. Fill a plastic bag with manure and place it at the bottom of the hole. If available, use a bag made of natural materials which will still hold the manure for a long time in the soil. Cover with soil and make a small mound in the hole for the tree to sit on. 4. Carefully remove the tree from its container without breaking its roots. If there are many roots, gently loosen the bottom tree roots, then place the tree in the hole which has been prepared. 5. Fill the hole with soil. Make a shallow trench around the surface for water collection and to help with water supply. Make sure that the top of the tree roots are covered with at least 2 centimeters of soil to prevent the roots from drying out. Add lots of mulch around the tree. Water enough. Make tree number 8. Number 6 is add lots of mulch around the tree. Number 7 is water enough. And number 8 is make tree guards if needed. Planting reforestation trees. Reforestation trees are planted using almost the same techniques as used to plant fruit trees, with a few small changes. This is because reforestation trees are usually planted further away from the garden and house area. This is because reforestation trees need less fertilizer. Reforestation trees are not usually watered, so rainwater storage is very important. And this is because the ground is often harder, making it more difficult to dig. Planting reforestation trees. Reforestation trees are planted using almost the same techniques as used to plant fruit trees, with a few small changes. Okay, we read that. And we said this is because reforestation trees are usually planted further away from the garden and house area. Reforestation trees need less fertilizer. Reforestation trees are not usually watered, so rainwater storage is very important. And the ground is often harder, making it more difficult to dig. The best time to plant reforestation trees is at the start of the wet season, when it begins to rain consistently. Following the same steps as used for fruit trees, but with these few small changes. Dig a smaller hole. There is no need for a bag of manure in the hole. Make a large trench for water catchment. Make sure that the trench is above ground level. This will help to prevent too much water collecting during the wet season. Use watering pipes during the dry season. Smart ideas. Dig holes for the trees, but leave them empty until the rains come. The rainwater will collect in these holes and soften the soil, so when trees are planted, they will grow better. Planting with swales will always improve results and help trees to grow faster and healthier.